there's a new controversy now.
Yeah.
It's not about hand size, even though I know that category does seem important to you. It's about weight. And it's about Bryce Young and how strong of a grip does he have on the number 1 overall pick. And it's not because of his ability to play quarterback. I know that sounds crazy, but it's a durability issue, or could be a durability issue, because he's not expected to be 6 feet. And we just got a bit of an update on what we expect him to weigh in at.
Yeah, so our buddy CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones tweeted it's going to be around 200 is what he's hearing or reporting. So you say that, and I need the science. Are small quarterbacks that much more prone to injury? And listen, we probably should have done that before the show, but big quarterbacks get hurt.
How we're gonna do
big
that.
Quarterbacks get hurt. Small quarterbacks get hurt. All kinds of quarterbacks get hurt. Obviously, the two of the most durable ones that we've seen in the last, say, 10 years were, for a long time, Russell Wilson had the Ironman record. Then Drew Brees.
Eli Manning had it literally had the record for most consecutive starts.
Right, and then Drew Brees had about 10 years without getting hurt, and he's very small. So anecdotally, there are small guys that are fine, and there are big guys who get hurt all the time. Lots of guys who are big. Just because you're, by the way, even if you're a big quarterback at 230, you're going to get sacked by a guy who's 330. So,
well, that always does happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes in here. How do you avoid hits? How quickly do you get rid of the ball?
Listen, I think
all sorts of things.
I think we all understand that it's a case by case. We all know that, because there's more things involved in what makes a great quarterback beyond just their size. How smart are they? How quickly can they adapt to an offense? How much can they read defenses? How committed are they? All of that stuff goes, are they great leaders? All that stuff goes into a quarterback. But I'm telling you, from my point of view, if I'm the general manager and my job's on the line, I can't go into the season spending the number 1 overall pick. I'm basically staking my career and my job, my reputation, everything on somebody who, with one hit, could be out. Now, you could say, well, a big guy could have one hit, but I would rather take my chances of someone the size of Josh Allen or Ben Roethlisberger being able to get back up than somebody the size of Bryce Young or Tua. And listen, to Tua's credit, he did keep getting back up. I think the whole world was telling him, no, stay down. And he kept getting back up. But I'm trying to look for some longevity. I can't solve everything. I'm not going to get everything from one person. But if I'm talking about factors and variables, that would matter to me if I were the GM.
Yeah, I have to see more numbers on this because, there's obviously Tua, but there's a lot of other small quarterbacks. Most of the quarterbacks who've been drafted high in recent years have been on the smaller side.
Yeah, I think it's a trend. And
Baker was fine. And Kyler Murray was okay until this year.
I know, he tore his ACL. I mean, I think that this thing goes in cycles, I think. And it's a credit to Russell Wilson and to Drew Brees that all of a sudden shorter quarterbacks, it became like a non-issue. It became a non-talking point. Baker Mayfield goes number 1 overall. Kyler Murray goes number 1 overall.
Right.
Bryce Young could go number 1 overall. I'm not saying that we're past this. I'm just telling you what I would do. And I need somebody who I could feel a little bit better about the normal, quote unquote, wear and tear of just being a quarterback in the National Football League. I'm hoping this person is going to be a bit more durable.
Yeah,
Justin Herbert hit in the ribs, right?
Yeah. He's been hurt a bit.
And imagine, though, if he wasn't 6'5" and 230 pounds, would he have missed games? He might have.
He might not have stood in there for that hit like a lot of other smaller quarterbacks would not do. I mean, Trey Lance is gigantic. And he has not been able to stay.
Well, no San Francisco quarterback can stay healthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what size, shape, age, they all get hurt.
I mean, okay, if we're talking about, there's two things, too. Tearing an ACL like Kyler Murray, that can happen at any size. It's happened throughout the history of the NFL and the NBA at any size. I think the issue is concussions. Isn't that what we're talking about here?
I'm talking about...
Are you talking about lower body injuries?
I'm talking about durability, but we can talk about concussions, too.
I mean, Bryce Young, is he any more likely to tear his ACL than a 6'4" quarterback?
Maybe not a tear of an ACL, but I'm talking about, maybe we can talk about concussions. Like, I'm seeing times where, let's say Tua, for example, we got, folded in half,
Again, give me some other examples besides Tua.
Well, I mean, there's more tall quarterbacks than short quarterbacks, so I don't have as many instances to give you. But the concussions part of it is a big deal because now it appears the NFL's not sweeping this stuff under the rug like they used to, right? The public outcry after Tua was so much so that They made a big deal about the independent spotters. More guys started getting held out because of concussions. They acknowledged at the end of the season that concussions were up. I mean, the league itself said we had more concussions this year. I think that was a way almost of patting themselves on the back, like, hey, we're taking this seriously. We're actually diagnosing these.
Yeah, but again, I feel like huge quarterbacks get concussions. Troy Aikman's a big dude. He left the league because of concussions. Brady probably had one every year, according to Giselle.
Yeah.
A lot of big quarterbacks get knocked out. I'm looking at the most consecutive starts list, and there are a lot of big guys on there because, of course, they're big quarterbacks. But Favre wasn't huge, and he started a million games in a row.
Okay, so you would take Bryce Young number 1 overall?
Absolutely.
And not even think twice about it?
Not twice.
Okay. I mean,
the other thing, too, is if I'm
it doesn't matter then that he even comes in at 200 pounds. How about 195? How about 190? How about 185?
He's my guy. You know who he reminds me of?
Yeah.
And I've said this before. He's got a Steph Curry vibe. How many times in the history of draft, NBA or NFL, have we said, oh, man, we underestimated that guy because he didn't fit this idea of measurable? So many times. Aaron Donald's a great example. He fell at 13 because he was short for a defensive tackle. I think that you got to ignore that because tall guys get hurt too. And Bryce Young, if he's so small, how does he generate so much power when he passes?
I mean, that could be the lower body stuff, but that's not. I feel like that's a different kind of than what I'm talking about, right?
Like
being able to generate power on your throws is like having good lower body. Like Jalen Hurts can squat 600 pounds. Remember he did that in college, kind of won over the locker room when he got to Oklahoma and with that viral video. And you need the lower body, but if I'm 190 and I'm 5'11 or whatever he's going to be, 5'10 and a half, I mean, you're talking about someone who's got to be a major exception. He's going to be a major exception to the rule here, and if I were the GM, I wouldn't do it. I'm not betting on an exception.
So say you said, okay, that's number 1. What about 5? Where are you?
No, I'm not drafting him.
You're not drafting him at all?
No. I mean, if I'm picking that high, right, I'm in the market for a quarterback that I want to be a starter. So, no, that's a pass for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I like Bryce Young.
So
like, this is not a personal thing at all. What's that?
You wouldn't even have him in the first round.
If it were me, it would be he's not on my board.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could say if he fell to the second round, he's not going to. He's going to be a top 2 quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take him 1. I mean, obviously, he's probably not going to go past 4, I would think. Yeah, I definitely would draft him. I mean, I think I'm in the majority here. Obviously, unless we were totally all being fooled and he comes in at 185. So it doesn't matter what he weighs in to you. Say he weighs in at 205. Nothing.
So
makes no difference.
Here's the thing about the combine. I've always thought this. And the combine, to me, I understand why teams use it, right? There's like this sort of standardization of everyone in the field. So it's like, all right, I can compare guys, this guy to this guy. But I don't exactly know what it tells me. Right? Like, does it really like measure your explosiveness? Because you're doing it in shorts. You don't even have pads on. So I don't know if I'm using any of these measurables of the athleticism stuff as my end-all be-all, because I don't think a lot of it is really simulating what you're seeing on the field.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And obviously, I think the assistant coaches and the coaches overestimate what they see at the combine instead of going to tape. But there are positions, I think wide receiver and cornerback, obviously, you're watching their 40. You can't help but do it. I do think that there is something to this explosiveness.
Oh, yeah, again, listen, you can watch offensive and defensive linemen, watch the 10 splits. Like, it doesn't have to be the full 40.
Again, Aaron Donald comes to mind. He sort of blew this thing out of the water and worked out. Yeah, listen, I'm an Eagles fan. We drafted a guy named Mike Mamula out of Boston College who became the face of workout wonders.
But I think you can study for these. You can study for the 40. You can get your body in shape for the 40. You can get your body in shape to do the 3-cone drill. Just like I think you can put on weight in an effort to be impressive at this weigh-in, but like, can you keep it on? And also, can you keep it on through the rigors of a season? I think guys go one of two ways, right? I think the heavier linemen sometimes tend to gain weight during a season, and I think other guys tend to lose weight during a season.
Yeah.
And I'd be worried that even if Bryce Young starts off at 200 pounds, what is he by week 12?
Well, also, some guys during the pre-draft process try and get heavy for the combine, lose it, and do a fast 40. So the heavier you are, the slower your 40 is.
Sure.
But let me read you some names.
Okay.
I got some names. Top 25 longest starting streaks in NFL history.
Okay.
Listen to the size of some of these guys. I don't have the size. Okay. Andy Dalton. You've been around Andy.
Andy's big.
No, he's tiny.
Really? How? I've never actually been around Andy.
Andy is definitely not big. He
When
might
would
be
I have been around
6'1".
Andy?
Kirk Cousins is not big.
Andy's he's listed at 6'2". Okay.
Okay, Kirk Cousins is definitely not big.
No.
He's bigger than Bryce Young. Drew Brees is on this list twice. He had a 79 streak and an 82 game streak. And then I'm going to ignore all the tall guys here. Derek Carr's not particularly big. He's okay, 6'2". Yeah, then Brett Favre's number one.
Wait, who are the tall guys you're ignoring?
Okay, well, one is let's do the real list. Favre is one. Okay. Not a huge guy. He was thick though. 2 is Phillip Rivers.
Yeah,
3 was
tall.
Eli. 4 was Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And 5 was Matt Ryan, all pocket guys. 6 was Russell Wilson. 7 was Stafford, who's medium size. Jaws, Brady, Joe Ferguson. How big was Joe Ferguson? He was a Bill.
Yeah, I mean, big.
No, he was. He was small.
Stafford is 6'3".
Yeah, Joe Ferguson was 6 feet tall, 195.
I only am watching from the tape. Stafford is 6'3". I don't consider that
There's
small.
no way Matt Stafford's 6'3".
Well,
I've been up close and personal with Matt Stafford. Yeah, he's pretty thick, but there's no way he's 6'3". Maybe he's
6'3", 220 is at least what I'm getting from NFL.com.
All right, but
that's not 5'10", 185.
What does this 20 pounds matter when a 335-pound man is throwing you to the ground? Does that really make that big a difference?
Well, I mean, he's on this list, wasn't he, for longest streaks? So I can make the case.
But then there's 1,000 bigger quarterbacks who had no durability.
Listen, you're asking me if I'm the GM what I do. I told you why, and I told you what I do, and I gave you the reasons why. And I don't think I would regret it either. And listen, I'm not rooting against Bryce Young at all. Like, I think he's great. You put on the tape in college. Dude can make all the throws. I mean, he did take some hard hits in college and also did miss time this year with the shoulder injury. But he can make all the throws. He's got the great anticipation. He played against an elite competition, so you believe what you're watching. I mean, and he's, got the leadership and the personality and all that stuff to boot. It just wouldn't be for me.
Man, the Texans are so psyched if he falls to 2.
Well, they could just trade up.
I wouldn't.
Just to make sure that the Colts don't, in your own division, don't jump on top of you.
Then just take Stroud. I think the
Wait a minute, I thought you were on the Bryce Young.
I love Bryce Young, but I think all 4 guys are going to go in the top 8. I don't know that you trade a first-round pick to go from 2 to 1 this year. I would not do that. And I think it might cost that. First round or second round. I would not necessarily trade it. I happen to like Bryce Young, but I kind of like the other guys too. So I would take Bryce Young first, but I wouldn't trade a first round pick for the right to do it.